The Victims and Villains of TLC by Patrick CC. That's rather interesting, with the name in combination. I think we've reacted to this channel before. Let's go in, honestly. Also, please consider liking, subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Every little bit of support helps and gets me closer to my goal. Thank you so much. We'll go in. Okay. Yeah, especially with these, like, overweight shows, right? I could see that there's probably some horrible stuff going on.
Whether they were looking for a fresh start or giving the world a look into their misunderstood lifestyles, these people allowed the TLC network to put their lives on display.
Or, by the way, the more I look at this, the less I even, like, agree that shows should be made about this, and, like, these people should be put on blast like this, because these people need help. They don't need to be displayed, they need help.
For millions to criticize. For a moment, it looked like their lives were going to change for the better, but when the camera stopped rolling, a much darker reality began to unfold, and their lives fell apart. There is a shockingly common theme of former TLC reality stars finding themselves in public scandals, prison sentences, and even an early grave. Today, we will be discussing the dark life after a TLC show, starting with Honey Boo Boo.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo. I've never heard of this.
Who seemed like a silly and charismatic young girl on screen, but off screen was being exploited to unimaginable levels. When it comes to controversial reality television, there is no better example than Toddlers and Tiaras. The show featured girls as young as 3 years old competing in beauty pageants. They were frequently placed under immense amounts of stress, suffering verbal abuse, and constantly being pressured to reach unattainable beauty standards. The show has been accused of children, with some of the contestants dressing or dancing.
Oh, no! Never mind! Whoever made this, put them in jail! No, oh, no!
Inappropriately for a
that's where they got the idea for cuties. Ew.
Preschooler. Despite this, the show developed a large audience who enjoyed the mayhem and drama that came with every episode, earning around 1.6 million viewers per week. But not everyone was supportive. Many critics felt like
Why would I be Nobody should be supportive of this. What the fuck? What do you mean? Critics weren't support. Well, of course. I think nobody should be. What the fuck?
these parents use their daughters as a way to vicariously live out their dream of being a beauty queen, and this almost always resulted in the mothers putting their own desires over the comfort and safety of their children. One of the most notorious examples of this was June Shannon and her daughter Alana, better known as Honey Boo Boo. Alana's personality was perfect for TV. She created hilarious moments every time she opened her mouth.
Must be creative that then they're gonna be me, Honey Boo Boo child.
Equally impossible to ignore was her mother June, who
She's quite large. It would be rather difficult to ignore her. She might have her own gravity. Anyways, yeah, that I don't think children should be in TV like this, right? Not in TV like this, specifically.
stirred up controversy from the moment she was introduced. She notably gave her 6-year-old daughter a concoction of Mountain Dew and Red Bull, which Alana called go-go juice, to keep her energy high when she was.
So she's just giving her diabetes. She's just giving her daughter diabetes. Wow, cool.
Competing in pageants.
Oh, and a caffeine addiction.
Many believe that this was a negligent and dangerous strategy, as the caffeine content of energy drinks far exceeds the recommended limit for a child as young as Alana. But far worse than that was June's objectification of Alana, often calling for her to show more skin and
what the fuck, dude?
And show her belly to the judges for a better score.
Sure know the tummy when I go like that should be knowing that she needs to show the tummy to the judges.
Regardless of the glaring.
The chin has a chin, and the chin has a chin. Double chin.
Issues between this mother-daughter dynamic, Alana and Mama June were both captivating characters, which is why TLC chose to capitalize on their growing popularity and give them their very own TV show called Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. The show was immediately more successful than Toddlers and Tiaras, earning 2.4 million viewers per episode and ultimately ran for 4 seasons. However, the show would be abruptly canceled when it was revealed that Mama June was dating a child predator.
Yeah, bro, the mother needs to go as well. The mother needs to go as well, bro. What the fuck?
Lana's mother was in a romantic relationship with a man named Mark McDaniel, a registered sex offender who was arrested in 2004 for abusing an 8-year-old. Mark had spent the last 10 years in prison.
That's crazy. No, that's crazy. You see what I mean by this? You see what I mean by this? Bro, even can't. I guess they can't. What kind of red flags was she ignoring?
And had only been released earlier that year. To make matters worse, June knew him far before he was ever convicted and supposedly had previously dated him at the same time he his victim. This was a PR nightmare for TLC, as they were platforming the mother of one of the most famous children on the planet who is now exposing her daughter to a dangerous pedo. TLC canceled the show and said, supporting the health and welfare of these remarkable children is our only priority, which you'll see later isn't always the case. June's decision to associate with a man like Mark is reflective of the blatant disregard she has for her children and her inability to put her own desires second to their safety. Then again, this is not her first time having an association with child predators. It was revealed shortly after that 2 of June's daughters, Jessica and Pumpkin, were fathered by Michael Anthony Ford, a completely different offender who abused.
What the yeah, no, bro. If nothing happened to her daughter, then she must have been the most lucky girl on the planet. She must have been the most lucky girl on the planet, bro. Protect your wives, your sons, your daughters, all of them. I'll predict all of them. I need to. That's crazy.
Minors, and was even featured on an episode of To Catch a Predator.
It's Michael Anthony Ford. I have not had contact with him since '99. Since then, he has committed.
You committed also horrible things by dating these men. At this point, Lord, let it rain brain cells. Also, like, bro, you're just talking. Why are you trying to gasp for air like this?
He was caught on Catch a Predator.
At this point, the public didn't care that the Honey Boo Boo show was canceled. They just wanted to know if she was safe under the custody of her own mother. In 2019, Mama June was arrested with her new boyfriend, Eugene Doak, for possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia as police recovered needles and glass pipes from the couple's vehicle. But luckily, June's horrible parenting would finally see justice, because in 2022, she officially lost custody of a now 16-year-old Alana, who was
Thank goodness. Thank fucking goodness. Thank goodness.
now in the care of June's older daughter, Pumpkin. In the eyes of the court, June was unfit to care for the former child star, and as Alana approached adulthood, she had to come to terms with her troubled relationship with her mother.
Do you not understand that I am staying with my sister? And that's not my choice. I swear to God, Mama, it's not my choice.
Okay, it's not? Yes, it is.
It's not my choice. She wants to stay with you. She obviously doesn't feel safe in the house.
I would love to come home and tell you about my day, but I can't do that because I'm scared. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm scared to stay at your house.
A biopic documenting Alana's childhood titled I Was Honey Boo Boo released in 2025. The film shines light on what Alana describes as a transactional relationship she had with her mother, revealing that June always prioritized business over her own daughter. As if that wasn't bad enough, Alana never received a single cent from her time on television. Her mother spent it all before Alana.
Oh no! So she was exploited. She never got anything for it, and his mother's gross. Some people are so unlucky with their parents. I hate it.
Became an adult.
I have never ever received the Here Comes Honey Boo Boo money. I've never seen it. Never ever even heard of it, if I'm being completely honest.
You don't really give a that you took my money. That's the real problem.
It's gone. I used it in my drug addiction. Woo!
She gave me my money back and was like, oh, here's your money. No, I don't think she ever was like, I'm sorry. I was so over just like poking and prodding at her for the money. Like I was at the point of like, you know what? I don't even freaking want the money anymore.
On a more positive note, Pumpkin seems to have done an amazing job raising Alana to be a well-adjusted young woman. She is currently pursuing a degree in nursing at Regis University.
Oh, good for her. Very good for her. Wow, amazing. Classic child star exploitation pilot. It is. It is incredibly good for. Great, awesome, good. Still a happy end.
With aspirations to work in the medical field. June Shannon is a few years sober now, but is still doing everything she can to maintain her reality TV status, accepting deals with no-name networks to produce another spin-off of her Country Kardashian.
Mama June from Not So Hot. Family Crisis. What the fuck? This looks like some slop show that you would find on one of these platforms that you have to pay per episode.
Lifestyle. As tragic as Alana's childhood was, it was clear to see the warning signs from the moment she made her first appearance on television. The same can't be said for the Duggar family, a seemingly picture-perfect Christian household who were hiding a disturbing and dark secret. The Duggar family first appeared in a 10-hour TV special titled 14 Children and Pregnant Again. As a devout Christian family, Jim Bob Duggar and his wife Michelle were strongly against the use of contraceptives, and after the birth of their
They just smashed infinitely. They just smashed. Yeah, that is a problem because like some churches are like, yeah, no contraceptives. I don't want 13 children either. I agree that they are crazy. So it would seem I don't want 13 children either, right? Too out chill. What happens more, right? That's fine. But like, wow.
first child Joshua, they allowed God to decide how many children they would end up having. The Duggar family upheld the most conservative and traditionalist values possible, homeschooling all of their children and heavily restricting their usage of the internet and television. The Duggar family dynamic was almost entirely unheard of in our modern society, which is why TV producers
Honestly, with the modern schooling system, I get wanting to homeschool your child. Like, I get it. I understand it. I get it. The problem is, how do you handle the social aspects? How do they make friends? How do they, right? That's always a problem. I don't know how people handle this that do homeschooling. Honestly, I get it though. I get it. But I don't know how you would even pursue this.
offered more specials with each new child born. They ultimately landed a full-blown television show, 17
kids and counting. That mom cooked. That if every white woman was in Europe and in the Western world would just like be like this, we'd have no need for immigration. Wow, 17 and counting. What was the max they got?
kids and counting, which was eventually retitled to
19 and counting.
Kids and Counting by 2010. The show was meant to be a chaotic
At this point, the mom would just be like yoink, 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 yoink. Like she doesn't even like, right? They fall just out at this point, right? She's so wide open, it's just falling out. They're just falling out. They have no social life. Nuh-uh. I want my kids to go to school and meet other kiddos around their age. Yeah, that's like the thing, right? I understand from like a raising an education point, I get it, but the social point is just difficult, right? Because I want obviously I want my kids to have friends. I want my kids to grow up with friends, right? Because like if they don't hang around others, they're gonna struggle later in life with socializing and stuff. Difficult.
yet wholesome glimpse into the life of a massive Christian family, but slowly over time, the cracks in their facade began to shatter their holy image. By 2015, some of the Duggar children were now grown adults. Their eldest child, Josh, was 27 years old, with a wife and 4 children of his own by 2015. Josh was perceived to be following in the footsteps of his parents, working on conservative political campaigns, and even saved his first kiss for his wedding day. However, it was revealed that
I want to say cute. I wanted to say cute. It's Jover. It's no longer cute.
Josh had been named as an alleged offender in a police investigation into underage assault. In 2002, when Josh was 14 years old, he was accused of inappropriately touching an unnamed girl while she slept. Even after his father became aware of the situation, Josh continued to multiple other girls while they slept, all of which are believed to be his younger sisters. Over the years, Jim Bob Duggar refused to take any strict action, but the police
they're not from Alabama, so, I guess. Oh!
would step in once they received a copy of an email describing Josh's behavior. The email, written by an anonymous source close to the family, was sent to Harpo Studios, a multimedia company founded by Oprah Winfrey in the days leading up to the Duggars' appearance on The Oprah Show. Before you air the Duggar family from Arkansas, you need to know the truth. They are not what they seem to be. Josh has blank while blank were sleeping, and the parents have been hiding this secret for a long time. I think that you should know the truth before they make a complete fool of you in your show. They've been on TV before and come across as a perfect family, which couldn't be further from the truth. This email was forwarded to the local police by someone at Harpo Studios, but no official charges were brought as the statute of limitations had expired. These allegations would be buried temporarily, but they couldn't escape them forever. The whole family could feel the pressure online, and Josh Duggar had no choice but to address the situation, in which he confessed to his sisters. 12 years ago, as a young teenager, I acted inexcusably, for which I am extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends. I confess this to
Chop his hands off.
my parents, who took several steps to help me address the situation. We spoke with the authorities where I confessed my wrongdoing, and my parents arranged for me and those affected by my actions to receive counseling. I understood that if I continued down the wrong road that I would end up ruining my life. I sought forgiveness from those I had wronged and asked Christ to forgive me and come into my life. I would do anything to go back to those teen years and take different actions. In my life today, I am so very thankful for God's grace, mercy, and redemption. In response, TLC pulled the show from its scheduled time, leaving the program in a state of limbo before officially canceling it altogether. Shockingly, most of the show's viewers believe that this was blown out of proportion. There was an overwhelming sentiment that Josh was a confused and misguided teenager, with the argument being that because of his sheltered upbringing, he didn't fully understand his actions and began making poor choices as he hit puberty. But all those people defending him were about to be proven dead wrong. Ashley Madison was the name.
It's gonna get worse. Oh no, it's just gonna get worse. It will just get worse. Okay, so that's crazy. Especially like old sisters. Crazy.
Of a website designed to facilitate affairs for married individuals. In 2015, it had its user data leaked to the internet. Many notable men found themselves at the center of controversy following the data breach, including Josh Duggar. He responded to the leak saying, "I have been the biggest hypocrite ever. While espousing faith and family values, I have secretly over the last several years been viewing porn on the internet, and this became a secret addiction, and I became unfaithful to my wife." Shortly after, Josh admitted himself into rehab to deal with his addiction, but his addiction was far more sinister than his family could ever have imagined, and it was about to land him behind bars.
Oh wait, is that why his hairline starts running? Is that why his hairline is started to escape him? That makes sense. That's logical.
On April 21st, 2021, Josh Duggar was arrested by federal officers for the receipt and possession of CSAM and CP. A federal grand jury found that Josh
So the stuff he did as a teen was a sign that something was wrong. So it would seem. Yeah, I'm not shocked. Well, there were signs.
Received material featuring children under the age of 12 years old, and as a result, he was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. I'll spare you the details
Good, rest in peace.
of what was found on this man's hard drive, but just know that him getting 12 years in prison is not nearly enough time. The Duggar family story is a prime example of why you shouldn't believe everything you see on TV. What seemed to be a wholesome Christian family was protecting a horrific child predator, and TLC was profiting the entire time. They were also about to fatten their bank accounts with My 600 Pound Life, a show that ended in so many tragedies it's unbelievable it still has not been cancelled. Getting in shape can be a struggle for anybody, but imagine just how much harder it is when you're hundreds of pounds overweight. This was the appeal of My 600 Pound Life, a show that documented the weight loss journey of morbidly obese people.
Or if you're so overweight, the scale just shows error. That should be a wake-up call for you to change something. Because that's insane, right? When you are so heavy that the scale can no longer estimate it.
People looking to make drastic changes, hoping to eventually qualify for weight loss surgery. On the surface, the show seemed like a well-intentioned and positive program. Not only were they helping people lose weight, but they were documenting their struggles in a way that may have inspired others to turn their lives around. However, as the show continued to air, a dark pattern emerged that couldn't be ignored, and many started wondering if TLC was turning a blind eye. Many former participants have since passed away following their appearance on the show. One of the first was Robert Bushell, who lost a significant amount of weight after entering the show weighing over 800 pounds. He suffered a fatal heart attack during filming at only 41 years old. Sean
Wow. That's horrible.
Milliken's heart stopped after losing over 400 pounds. Kelly Mason and LaTanya Patain both suffered fatal heart attacks following their appearance on the show.
But what's the reason? Is it just like too strained, too fast? Is that what it is? Because there's got to be some connection here. So my assumption is that it was just too much.
Regardless of the progress these people had made, their bodies were too far gone. Years and years of strain on their heart and damage to essential organs made recovery impossible, and they spent their final moments fighting a battle they could never win. Others just could not make a permanent change after the show was over. My 600 Pound Life provided contestants nutrition plans, workout regimens, and constant surveillance that held them accountable. These factors were able to keep them in check when the cameras were rolling, but many fell back into old habits when the production crew left. One of the most notable examples of this was Larry Myers Jr. Larry went viral in 2022 and was dubbed Mr. Buttermilk Biscuits after his hilarious reaction to a Popeyes biscuit.
Buttermilk biscuits!
Larry once weighed nearly half a ton, and he was able to lose 100 pounds during the show.
Half a ton. Half a ton! $500 kilograms! Wow.
However, the producers responsible for his episode failed to address the root of his issues. Larry turned to food as a coping mechanism to deal with the death of his mother and nephew, and once his episode ended, he returned to that same habit. One of the most common reasons people become morbidly obese is because of their emotional relationship with food, often using it as a coping mechanism to deal with stress and trauma. This is an issue that the show often fails to address. It's much deeper than people just not being able to control their cravings. Gina Krasley faced a similar issue, reaching 300 pounds at just 13 years old, and turned to food to deal with her abusive father. She found some success during the show, but Gina would pass away at only 30 years old shortly after her appearance. Now, most people aren't that shocked to find out that many of these severely overweight people passed away. They kind of look at it like they
Yeah, but that happens, right? You can look at a lot of these like quote-unquote fat activists, right? There's like I'm hot, I'm fat, but I'm hot. Right? Those guys. These body positivity parasites. A lot of those are dead. They just died. A lot of those are like, you can look at that, they just died.
made their bed, now they have to lay in it. And to an extent, that is true. These are individuals living with the consequences of their actions, which is years of habits that didn't change their body overnight. But that's also what makes the show so complicated. My 600-Pound Life selects the most extreme cases because those are the best for TV. The more unstable the lifestyle, the more dramatic the transformation will be. They build a narrative around their struggle and present it as a story of redemption, knowing full well that these people might literally die on the show. Supporters will say that the show is helping by providing an opportunity that nobody had ever gave them, or that they were going to die anyway if they didn't change, but TLC gave them an opportunity. But even if the intention is to help, the show is still built around filming people at their lowest point, without any real safety net once the cameras leave. And in some cases, the dark life after the show results in something far more serious that TLC was never designed to handle.
The care after that, the making sure that these people actually get also the help that they need, which is psychological help, that was missing, right? But yeah, there is some truth to it that these people would have died anyways, eventually, right? There's some truth to it to a degree.
James Bonner is easily one of the most tragic examples of this. In 2013, he lost his right leg in a car accident. As a result, he suffered from severe depression and turned to food and alcohol as a way to cope. By the time he appeared on the show in 2018, he weighed over 650 pounds. With the odds stacked against him, James made incredible progress, got sober, and lost over 400 pounds. But James's weight wasn't the cause of his inner battle. It was simply the byproduct of it. James made the final permanent decision at only 30 years old, writing in a Facebook post, "No matter what you change or the efforts you put forth in life, sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and deal with things your own way." And the way James chose to die is not the only instance of this issue. Destiny Lachey during season 7 lost over 500 pounds after appearing on the show, but wrote after, "I feel like all I'm constantly doing is trying to escape my depression and pain at this point. Food is the only thing I can turn to do that. I can feel it killing me. There's no way I'm going to survive for much longer." And unfortunately, she suffered the same fate as James less than 3 years after her episode aired. There are a vast array of different reasons.
Because the root cause isn't dealt with. The root cause isn't dealt with. What's sad is they put so much effort in this just to end it. That makes it just worse.
Why so many people who took part in the show eventually passed away, but they all raise the same question. Is My 600-Pound Life truly meant to be a feel-good and motivational program seeking to help people in need, or a platform for those with undesirable lifestyles to be gawked at like a zoo animal by viewers? And since TLC is constantly searching for the most extreme, attention-grabbing stories, it doesn't just highlight people in difficult situations, it inevitably starts platforming the worst kinds of people. Even a show that was supposed to be about finding a lifelong soulmate ended up breeding a toxic and exploitative dynamic. 90 Day Fiancé is a reality TV series that documents couples who have applied for a K-1 visa, which permits a foreign citizen to temporarily reside in America for 90 days while the couple gets married. This dynamic is chaotic because it's usually a desperate American who could not find a partner amongst 300 million.
Yep, I could imagine that. Let me guess. And after that, the divorce. And once they've divorced, he has to give her half a shit. Classic.
Citizens and has resorted to finding companionship with someone halfway across the world, matched with an immigrant looking to use someone to gain American citizenship. And that's not the case for all of the people that were featured on the show. There were many couples who were well-intentioned and found true love within each other. But if we're being honest, TLC wasn't always looking for a happy ending. Larissa Lima traveled from Brazil to Las Vegas, Nevada to meet her eventual husband, Colt Johnson. From the second they met on the show, there were glaring issues that could
how do I say this? I think my boy's cooked.
Couldn't be ignored. The state of Nevada was hotter than hell, Colt was still living with his mother, and the two failed to find any chemistry whatsoever. As a result, the two would frequently bicker with each other, oftentimes devolving into full-blown arguments with the entire family.
And that's a big ring. So you should feel like a damn queen with a rock like that. But no, you take advantage.
Oh,
Sorry. That laugh, okay? That laugh, okay? Was that was fake. Also, how do we know that these people genuinely actually married? How do we know that, right? How do we know that? We don't know that. That's easy to fake. Also, it's like, yeah, surprise. It's also like kind of unfair. She can't even defend herself because it's like 3 against 1. Because right, she's alone. She's not here with her parents.
Hey, you know what? I don't say I just go with because he's a sweetheart and I love him.
In spite of the many red flags, including an instance in which Larissa flushed her engagement ring down the toilet after a heated argument, the two still thought it would be a good idea to tie the knot. On June 19th of 2018, Larissa was arrested on charges of domestic battery after an altercation between her and Colt. She spent the night in jail and was released the following day, but 4 days later, the two officially got married on the
What the actual fuck? Yeah, somebody just really wanted to become a US citizen. Somebody just really wanted to become a US citizen. Really. Yeah, it's rather interesting. Yeah, I'll have to make sure that this doesn't happen in my case. Thank you. I want a peaceful life with my woman.
24th. Larissa would have a second run-in with the law in November that same year. Police responded to their home to investigate a potential domestic dispute, promptly breaking down the door and detaining Colt, while Larissa ran from the house to avoid being arrested. She was eventually apprehended.
So, wait. Cause previously explained, officers knocked down the door, placed him in handcuffs. The police, okay, officers arrived. Colt injuries from altercations were visible. Oh, so she abused him physically. Oh, she's an abuser. Oh. Interesting. Wow.
And once again arrested on similar charges, with the responding officers taking note of visible injuries on Colt. Unfortunately, the worst was still to come, with a third dispute occurring in January of 2019 that was far more violent and bloody. This time, Larissa was the one to contact the police and was visibly injured when law enforcement arrived.
She called the cops from me. I'll be deported. I just scratched him because he was hurting me. As you see.
In spite of her injuries, officers determined her to be the primary aggressor, and she was once again arrested for domestic battery. The same day, Colt officially filed.
I have to say this, okay? I have to say this. Okay? If you're the woman and you get arrested twice, even after such injuries, I wonder what Colt looked like. I wonder what Colt looked like after that fight. It's also like if she's constantly abusive and he eventually actually decides to fight back. Okay, interesting. Okay.
For divorce, a logical conclusion to a relationship that was doomed from the start. Unfortunately, this is far from an uncommon occurrence, as a handful of other couples on the show met a similar fate. Paul Stale and his wife Corinne met on the show in 2017. They got married that same year and had 2 children. However, the two had a messy public custody battle before their second son was born, as Corinne was attempting to take their son to her home country of Brazil behind Paul's back. What I found crazy is that they literally don't even speak the same language, and yet the two remained together for some time, but emotions boiled up.
Wait, hold up. I'm sure it were way worse, bro, if she's injured and they still charge the woman, bro. Oh my god, poor Colt. Yep. So, these two married, and they couldn't understand each other. That is insane. That is insane. That is actually wild.
Over after a video went viral of Corinne physically assaulting her husband. This resulted in both of their children being taken away by Child Protective Services and placed into foster care. To this day, Paul and Corinne have since separated and have still not been reunited with their children. Jeffrey Ian Pascal met his fiancée.
So these children are just constant. Like the answer is like super easy and simple. If she's she's abusive, you cannot give her the children. It is that simple. No common language is crazy. They could not talk to each other. Imagine you're married to somebody and you have to constantly funnel on the phone and be like, oh yeah, you need to translate this, translate that. It's like, huh? Oh God.
Varia on season 4 of the show, but truly found himself in the spotlight after being sentenced to 18 years in prison for aggravated kidnapping, domestic assault, and interference with emergency calls. In a fit of rage, Jeffrey senselessly beat his fiancée and refused to let her leave the home. Varia likely could have died that night if she didn't escape. Luckily she did and was able to contact the police, leading to Jeffrey's arrest. But as chaotic as these relationships are, there is one that TLC introduced that became one of the most culturally significant public divorces in modern media history, one that TLC made a ton of money on, and that was between John and Kate Gosselin. The couple was first introduced to the world in an hour-long TV special called Surviving Sextuplets and Twins on the Discovery Channel.
Sextuplets? It's what the fuck? And then another twins. Holy fuck. So they had 6 at the same time, and then twins. Somebody is incredibly fertile. That is very much clear. I hope that doesn't happen to me. God, at least not 6 at a time.
Becoming a new parent is scary, exhausting, and overwhelming, but having 6 babies at once after already having twins seemed like a living nightmare for most people. The chaotic family dynamic was enough to get picked up for a full-scale reality TV show, which was called John and Kate Plus 8. The show quickly shot up national TV ratings and became one of the most popular programs on the planet, but it came crashing down quickly in 2009 when the couple announced that they would be getting a divorce. While this was devastating to fans of the show, the signs were there from the very beginning. Viewers took note of Kate's overbearing, controlling, and harsh style of communicating, which starkly contrasted John's more passive and calm demeanor.
She was probably, I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey? He's like, breathe quietly. So I consider them sick, anyone sick, for, do you hear yourself breathing? Oh, that's
The fuck? Her belly, I wonder how it looked when she was pregnant with 6. Humongous. Humongous. I think, like, if she ever got close to anything, like, anything sharp, she would have just popped like a balloon. That is crazy. Why is she so needlessly abusive against him? For no reason. Huh.
just gross.
When someone hates the sound of you breathing, they hate you. People came to see a massive family working together to survive in modern-day America, but John and Kate's constant bickering became the reason they stuck around. It was clear that Kate resented her husband for some reason, and her constant nagging began compounding for John, resulting in him emotionally checking out of the relationship.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that she was emotionally abusive, right? I totally couldn't tell that. I definitely, most certainly not. She low-key sounded like a horse here. Horse.
In the months leading up to their divorce, reports came in that John was having an affair with a third-grade teacher. Their divorce became one of the hottest subjects in the tabloids, documenting every awkward encounter and even a supposed visit from the police. The show completely broke away from its original premise and focused solely on John and Kate's separation. This issue compounded when John began publicly speaking out, discussing what he described as abuse at the hands of Kate, as well as heavily criticizing the showrunners at TLC. John was particularly upset that the show would be continuing after the divorce, rebranded as just Kate Plus 8, meaning that his children would continue to be filmed without his constant supervision. As a result,
That's just crazy. That's just insane. 6 at the same time is so crazy, bro.
he filed a cease and desist order against TLC, who quickly retaliated with a lawsuit of their own for a breach of contract violation. For the next few years, John found himself in constant legal battles with both TLC and his own wife, costing him millions in lawyer fees and nearly bankrupted him. Which, remember earlier when TLC said that thing that protecting children is their top priority? Yeah, well, someone who thinks TLC is nothing more than a massive corporation that—
Well, they failed twice. Man debuff, real. Yep, that's the man debuff. They failed twice to do this, by the way. Protect the children, that is.
that profits off people's lives falling apart on camera is not much of a conspiracy theorist anymore. Kate Plus 8 continued filming, but it was met with lackluster reception and eventually canceled the following year. That's because Kate didn't have many endearing qualities. In fact, Kate's personality has been cited as the blueprint of what we now refer
So, the star of the show was the husband. Is that what it is? Yeah. In this case, the star of the show was the husband. Otherwise, the show would not have fallen off. I mean, it has probably fallen off anyways because of the bad publicity, but still.
to as a Karen, with her short blonde hairstyle and pissy attitude becoming a textbook description of the Karen image. The disdain towards her became widely referred to as Kate hate, which only strengthened as she desperately continued to cling on the little fame that she had, making appearances on other TV shows like Dancing with the Stars. Meanwhile, John was met with overwhelming sympathy and admiration as he continued to focus on the safety and well-being of his children while doing his best to stay out of the limelight. When he does speak out publicly, it's typically to speak out against reality television and the irreparable damage it caused his family. The contrast couldn't be any more stark. John believes reality TV destroyed his life, meanwhile his ex
Makes sense. And his ex just keeps the children, which is crazy. Oh, she's the OG Karen. Yep, she is the Karen. Absolutely. she's the textbook designer one. The OG, the real one.
wife is fully indulging in it. It's clear which parent had the right intentions, which is likely why John won the custody battles they had in the coming years.
Never mind! He won the custody battles. Maybe the man debuff doesn't always continue.
In August of 2017, police responded to a 911 call at an orthodontist office in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. When they arrived, they saw John and Kate in a verbal domestic dispute over one of their daughters, Hannah. Ultimately, no one was arrested, and Hannah went home with John of her own choosing. This event was likely the catalyst of a legal battle over the 13-year-old girl, who ultimately awarded full custody to John. A few months later, John also won custody of his son Colin, painting a grim picture for Kate and her parenting style. A source close to the family said, "The problem is that the kids are getting older and they're starting to ask questions. Some are still team mom, but team dad is growing. It's a very divided household." What was initially supposed to be a glimpse into an
Well, understandably so. Eventually, the children would just ask. Well, after almost going bankrupt, I'd say the debuff is too big. Well, he's still got 2 children back, and hopefully he'll get more on his side.
conventional family of 10 quickly devolved into a battle of 2. The show itself wasn't even that popular compared to the massive public fallout that is still going on to this day. Hannah, who turned 18 in 2022, has since publicly spoken out about her reasons for choosing to live with her father. "I felt like my dad gave me that attention and a feeling like I had a good solid relationship with a parent. It was a difficult decision leaving my siblings. I did not want to be separated from them or even live in a different household than them, but I just feel like there was unfair treatment in my mom's house and I just wanted to live with my dad." This is why reality TV, particularly TLC shows, are such a double-edged sword. You don't get a television show when you're well-adjusted and drama-free. Your life needs to be kind of falling apart and have a specific type of personality to want to be documented on TV during one of your lowest moments. I guess these people didn't realize that the money, fame, and worldwide attention would actually make their lives so much worse than they already were. That same thing can be said for musicians who had one hit song. They thought their lives would be better, but many of them got significantly worse.
Well, one of those is that someone that we used to know. Anyways, yeah, that is the end of the video, and there were some things in there, certainly. Yeah, I think reality TV's, I mean, it's always been trash, but when it's actually reality TV, in the most literal sense, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. I hope. I wish somebody would just pull the plug. That's all. TLC still exists. I have no idea. I wouldn't know. But I hope it doesn't. Rest in peace.